tonight. Saskatchewan bundles up against the season's first cold snap. The family of a man who was stabbed to death says they're disappointed with his killer's sentence. And why you'll likely have to wait a while if you want swimming lessons in Regina.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, December 12th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Well, you likely noticed the weather if you were outside Friday. Saskatchewan is experiencing its first real blast of bitterly cold temperatures this season. It took a bit more time to warm up the car in many places and was a frigid commute for many on Albert Street in Regina. The cold weather has communities across the province on high alert, making sure warming centers are ready to help people who are unhoused. Officials in Regina and Saskatoon say spots will be available, and they're encouraging people who want to help to consider donating supplies.
If you want to help out people who are experiencing homelessness, please offer donations to those warming locations. Call them up, see what they need, see if they need toques or mitts or jackets. Boots are often a big deal, so are socks. Take them to those locations because that's where we want people to go. That's where they'll be safe.
Saskatoon has 3 dedicated overnight shelters for men, women, and youth. Regina has 2 warming centers, the Owasso Place of Hope in North Central and Carmichael Outreach in the Heritage neighborhood. And this cold weather comes as a real shock after the warm weather that lasted well into fall. Weather specialist Mickey Wolf joins us now. Mickey, just how cold have things gotten?
Things have been cold, Ethan. We're seeing cold warnings actually across the province right now. Things were around -40 today for a lot of the south and central region. Let's take a look, though, at some of these cold warnings we're seeing in Saskatchewan right now. Pardon me, we'll get to those cold warnings. First, I want to get to these daytime temperatures we had, folks. We saw -45 with wind chill in Saskatoon. Exceptionally cold day. Waseca, Stony Rapids, Regina, and are all competing for that -43 with wind chill temperature today. And then taking a look at our warnings active right now, we're seeing yellow level warnings across the province. In that southwest corner, those are snowfall warnings right now. We're looking at 10 to 20 centimeters overnight. Everywhere else, we're going to be seeing temperatures with wind chill down to -40. And there's a high pressure system over the province right now that is creating an environment where those temperatures will hang on into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. So expect a cold morning, a cold afternoon before things start to warm up for Sunday and Monday, Ethan. I am personally looking forward to Monday, which is something you don't often hear out in the working world.
Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, Ethan.
And as you heard Mickey mention, this weather is not just uncomfortable, it is dangerous for people to be out in. And Prince Albert police are investigating what led to an intoxicated man being found on the ground in the freezing weather in that city on Thursday night. Investigators are also looking into this video circulating on social media. It shows security guards pushing a man in a wheelchair outside in the snow as he screams. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says someone was escorted out of Prince Albert's Victoria Hospital after being disruptive in the emergency department that night. And it's reviewing this situation with its security provider. Garda World has confirmed it is the security contractor for the hospital. It says it's treating this as a serious matter and is following up with its employees. A man who claimed self-defense in the fatal stabbing of another man on Mistawassa's First Nation is going to prison. Roy Lassasse received a 7-year sentence at Court of King's Bench in Prince Albert for the death of Troy Watson. Court heard Watson was heavily intoxicated when he entered Lassasse's home in November of 2020. Watson had stolen a cell phone and refused to leave. That's when Lassasse stabbed the 36-year-old 7 times with a kitchen knife. Several of Watson's family members were in court. They say they're disappointed with the sentence.
It wasn't good at all. It was unfair altogether. When our family has to live with this for the rest of our lives and miss our cousin and our brother, son, and uncle and everything, right?
Lassasse's sentence includes 2 years of probation. The conditions include a curfew, sobriety, and personal counseling. New data from Stats Canada shows Saskatchewan saw an increase in homicides between 2023 and 2024 and continues to have one of the highest homicide rates in the country. There were 65 homicides in 2024, an increase of 6 from the year before. Only Manitoba's homicide rate is higher than ours. Saskatchewan's rate is nearly triple the national average. It comes after data earlier this year showed Saskatchewan was nearly double the national average on Canada's Crime Severity Index. The opposition NDP says it's part of a concerning trend.
Nationally, the homicide rate declined by 4% between 2023 and 2024, marking the second consecutive year of improvement. In contrast, Saskatchewan's homicide rate rose by 7.4% during the exact same period.
The NDP says the rise is because of government underfunding of police and a lack of proper community supports. The province maintains its targeted measures to reduce criminal activity are showing results, and it pointed to Saskatchewan posting the third largest decrease on the Crime Severity Index from 2023 to 2024. The government says it plans to continue working with police on public safety challenges. A Regina senior who was duped by the so-called grandparent scam is sharing her story. Jill Finn was ready to hand over thousands of dollars in cash to bail her granddaughter out of jail. Dan Zakreski tells us what happened.
As is so often the case with these sorts of scams, Jill Finn's fraud adventure started with a phone call. It was Finn's granddaughter calling from the Regina police station. She'd been in an accident and arrested.
She said, "Oh, Nana," she said, "I'm uptown. My phone went off." And she said, "I just took my eyes off the road a second to reach for it, and I've rear-ended a woman, and she's a senior, and they've just rushed to the hospital." The policeman said to me, "That is a felony." And she says, "They have me now down at the police station. My bail will be $6,875.
Now you might be thinking, doesn't she know her own granddaughter's voice?
I will swear to my dying death that it was her voice, her mannerisms, and I'm sure that the AI was used and they've got it to perfection.
In that same phone call, the instructions came fast and were precise. A police officer said a lawyer named Mr. Williams had already been assigned to her granddaughter's case. And then Mr. Williams came on the line. Mr. Williams told Finn, who is 79, to go to the bank and take out the bail money. If anyone asked, she was supposed to say it was to pay a contractor for home renos.
He said the courthouse is always very busy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we have our own private courier that comes and picks up the money from the house.
Jill Finn and her husband started to get suspicious. Now, the lawyer had said to take the cash, put it in a shoebox, and leave it on their front step. But they thought, what about a receipt? So they decided to call Mr. Williams back. So they tracked down his law office. There actually is a lawyer named John Williams in Regina. He says he was shocked when Finn called.
And I just said to her, "Ma'am, no lawyer would ask you to do that. You are being scammed. Do not put that box on your step and call the police."
Typically, the targeted victims were senior citizens, as was the case here.
Finn called police and they rushed over. Officers told her they were already investigating other calls about grandkids in crashes. Police arrested the suspects before they got to Finn's house. A man and woman from Quebec are facing 7 fraud charges in Regina and another 5 in Saskatoon. Finn is still shaken by how the scammers duplicated her granddaughter's voice. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Hundreds of people remain out of their homes in BC's Fraser Valley because of flooding. Nearly 500 properties in Abbotsford remain under an evacuation order, and another 1,000 are on alert. And the mayor of Abbotsford had some tough words for the federal government.
We need action, and we need action now. We don't need empty promises from the federal government that they have our back. In fact, The federal government has not even reached out to me during this event. So I'm profoundly disappointed.
Several roads, including part of the Trans-Canada Highway, are closed. All schools in Abbotsford and Chilliwack remain shut. Rainfall warnings in the Fraser Valley have ended for now, but another atmospheric river is expected over the weekend, causing new concerns. A flood warning remains in place for the Sumas River. Well, at least this cold weather back here in Saskatchewan gets us in the mood for the holiday season. The decorations are up in downtown Saskatoon, and the cold can be beautiful too, with the steam coming off the South Saskatchewan River. So how long is it going to stay this way? Mickey Wolf is back with her full forecast after the break. Stay with us. An early Christmas gift for Mark Carney's Liberal government, courtesy of Michael Ma. The former Conservative MP crossed the floor to join the Liberals Thursday. It was a jaw-dropper because Ma was at the Conservatives' holiday party the day before he jumped ship. Ashley Burke now with what happened behind the scenes.
So let's give a warm welcome to our newest member of the Liberal Party.
A big move that took the Conservatives by surprise. MP Michael Ma joining the Liberals, leaving his party behind.
You are going to have a much better time spending Christmas with us than Christmas with the Cranks.
The Liberals now only one seat away from a majority government.
We welcomed over 300,001 new Liberals. The year's not over. Year's not over. That's all I'm saying.
Some Liberal ministers now claim there are more disgruntled Conservatives that could defect too.
You've seen 2 to date. There are others, that is for sure. Others exist.
I think there's some that will do some soul searching during the vacation.
Chris D'Entremont crossed the floor in November, saying he disagreed with the Conservatives' leadership style. Matt Genereux abruptly announced his resignation. Now Ma has left too.
It's frustrating. It's sad. I think it undermines a healthy culture here because you want to believe you can trust people, and this makes you second guess that.
Conservatives are taking aim at Ma for going to their Christmas party on Wednesday, taking a photo with his family and leader Pierre Poilievre, and accepting a secret Santa gift from a fellow MP, but not giving one out himself.
There's like kind of a dishonorable aspect to this. Like the guy went from doing the conga line at our Conservative Christmas party to literally 24 hours later leaving our party. Also leaving me without a secret Santa gift, by the way, just as a note.
Mr. Ma.
Sources say after Ma voted with the Conservatives in the House yesterday, he met with the Prime Minister and the minister who helped bring him over, who he became friends with because they have neighboring ridings. Not long after that meeting, the Liberals announced they had gained another seat. Now the Conservative MP who gave Ma that secret Santa gift says he wants his Amazon Fire Stick back. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Back in this province, the political conversation turned south of the border this week after U.S. conservative talk radio host Glenn Beck said he'd pay for a Saskatchewan woman to get the surgery she needs that she can't get in this country. The Morning Edition's political panel weighed in on the issue on Friday.
Murray, it's not every day that we have someone with a profile of Glenn Beck getting involved in Saskatchewan healthcare politics. Do you think this makes any kind of impact?
Yeah. So, but your sympathies go out with the victim here, who's obviously has a rare condition, a rare disease that sometimes doesn't get covered in our public system. Simply because it is a public system, often because we are a small country and the U.S. invests billions and billions more in healthcare to have innovative ideas and the best available resources in the world if you can afford them. And that's the question in play. Nothing says that free public health care isn't working in Canada, like an American loudmouth basically offering to provide free health care to someone. He's underscoring why our system actually does work, because on her own, Ms. Van Alstyne could not afford to go to the U.S. for this treatment. Otherwise, she would. And this is the problem with the American system. This is going to happen in the Canadian system, not to be unsympathetic to the situation in hand, but this is going to happen in the Canadian system simply because of factors that we're plagued with, being a smaller country and the system we have. You have millions upon millions of Americans that can't access the same procedure anyway because their insurance wouldn't cover it. They couldn't simply afford it. It's absolute BS on the top of Glenn Beck, but it's serving his agenda. Problematic for Scott Moe and his government, because they're not providing the services, and as conservative governments, they're quite not married to the notions of Medicare as the NDP, and an NDP opposition is going to take advantage of this situation. But really, in many ways, I think it actually underscores that our system kind of probably does work, even though it doesn't work in the specific situation for this one individual.
Mickey Wolf is back now for a full look at the forecast, and it just seems like a fact of life, Mickey, that we get the snow and then it gets really, really cold.
You are absolutely correct with that, Ethan. We had the snow, and then we're sitting in that freezing cold right now across the province. I'd like to take a look, though, a little bit closer at some of the snowfall we've seen over the past 24 hours. In Prince Albert, we had up to 5.1 centimeters. Saskatoon and Regina both sitting in that 4.1, 4.6 for Isle La Crosse. But cumulatively, it does add up. Across the province here, we are looking at snow pretty much everywhere. We're seeing those heavier amounts, 45 to 60, up to 45 to 60 centimeters in the north, and we're definitely seeing that sort of 7 to 10, 15 to 30 centimeter amounts across the south and central region. So quite a bit of snowpack across our doorsteps in the province. And as well, those daytime highs today, we've got the snow and we're seeing those cold, cold temperatures made to feel even colder by that wind chill across Saskatchewan today. But let's take a look at some relief from this cold. So this high pressure system that's sort of hanging out over the south and central region is going to move out of the province by Saturday evening. We will see in the early morning hours of Sunday a little bit of snow across the north, and then potentially, that's right, some mixed snow and possibly a little bit of rain into the early hours of Monday. Looking at the snowfall, we aren't going to see too much in the central region over the weekend. A little bit in that southwest corner, up to 7 centimeters for East End. And then in the north, things are going to look a little bit more gradual across the weekend into Monday. We'll see a little bit more, up to 8 centimeters for La Loche. But first, we have to contend with these wind chills tomorrow morning. Things are looking very cold, especially in Saskatoon and Stony Rapids. We're going to see wind chill down to minus 42. And then as we get into the weekend, past that Saturday, we're going to see some warmer temperatures up to 0 degrees in that southwest corner. So let's take a look at Regina for the next few days. We've got that cold day tomorrow. Then by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we've got a warm up. We will see some winds gusting strongly Tuesday and Wednesday, but those warmer temperatures should make things feel a little bit more bearable before we see a cool down again Thursday. As well in Saskatoon, it's much of the same. We're looking at a chillier day tomorrow, and then Sunday and Monday, things really start to warm up for us. Potentially a little bit of snow. By Wednesday, we will also have a bit of a breezier day. We're going to see gusting up to 50 for Wednesday. So Ethan, I'm looking forward to Sunday. I'm looking forward to not a lot of snow forecasted, at least for Regina and Saskatoon.
And in the meantime, sparing a thought for all the cars that are not plugged in. Mickey, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ethan.
Here's Johnny.
Well, with all this colder weather, you might be thinking about staying inside, and it's good timing since one of the most famous winter-themed horror films is back in theaters. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is being released in IMAX Friday to mark the movie's 45th anniversary. You can catch it at the Kramer IMAX Theater in Regina this weekend. If you are not familiar with the 1980 film, it of course stars Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. They play a couple isolated at the remote Overlook Hotel with their psychic young son. And spoiler alert, things don't go over very well. It's widely considered one of the best horror movies of all time. Stay with us. We have more news and a final look at that frigid forecast when we come back. Signing your children up for swimming lessons in Regina is not an easy task. Registration opened earlier this week, and at one point there were almost 900 people on the wait list. That made things tough for one Regina mom.
One point, I did try to get both my children into swimming classes at the same time, and that was like, you really need to be on the ball because, and you got to pick which class is probably the more priority to get that one first. So you got to choose which kid needs more swimming lessons than the other, which happens a lot in families with multiple children. And then you may not get the classes that are overlapping for those two children, which can be a huge problem as well.
Private instructors are also seeing demand for their classes skyrocket. One instructor says she recently had over 100 inquiries for swimming lessons, but was only able to take 5 kids because of pool capacity issues.
Private lesson instructors through the city of Regina, to my understanding, aren't allowed to reserve a specific time. We have to use leisure swim times. So that limits the availability, as lots of the times are late at night, 6:45 to 8, and kids that are under 5 typically don't swim that late, or during the weekends, which the pool gets extremely busy during the weekends. It's hard to teach an effective lesson.
The city says the availability of swimming lessons is constrained by pool capacity and balancing schedules at those pools. And Mickey, I'm pretty sure those indoor pools are going to be pretty full this weekend with how cold it is outside.
Oh, Ethan, it's a good time to be in the pool, and especially the hot tub if you can this weekend, because it's going to be a cold one. Let's take a look at these overnight temperatures we're seeing across the province tonight, because things are colder than they may seem. We've got down to minus 30s, but wind chill again is going to make this feel like minus 40 across most of south and central Saskatchewan. As well in the north, things are looking very chilly tonight, and it's not looking much warmer tomorrow. Things will warm up a little bit into the high minus 20s by the midday. And in the south, it's much of the same. We're seeing really cold temperatures in the morning with that wind chill. That feeling like minus 40 is going to hang on into the afternoon hours. So Ethan, I think we should all make a trip to the public pool tomorrow and warm up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll tough it out for one more day. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that is our news for this Friday. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. You can, of course, also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend and stay warm.